Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
It's Waffle Box time.
I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It
Gets the people going.
You know what old Jack Burton always says at a time like this?
My crotch is itchy.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
What would you do if you had $1 million?
2 chicks at the same time, man.
We just thank the Lord she didn't live to see her son as a mermaid.
You killed a hooker!
Call girls!
No,
she was
Cyril, when they're dead, they're just hookers.
This time we are sure she's a woman, right?
Why do you want to listen to the TV with the stereo on?
Because I like to party.
Let's do this!
Ooh, welcome to Waffle Box, the podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing, all at the same time. Coming up in episode 25, Britney Spears finally gains her freedom. Mel Gibson beating a dead horse. Deadpool stars alongside Dwayne Johnson in Red Notice, and so much more. I am Mike Fish, and I am joined, as always, by Mr. Kush. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
What's good, y'all? The Sativa American coming to you all the way from Fog City. What's good, Mike?
This life. I'm alive. That's what's good.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Alive is good. Being happy is good, and yeah, man. That is a full lineup we got going on there on tonight's show, dude. I'm ready to rip into this.
Hell of a show. But before we dive into our first topics, what has been up in the world of Kush Hayes in the past 7 days? You been up to any exciting adventures? Saved any damsels in distress from a tower?
No damsels in distress, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, but no damsels regardless, which is definitely a bummer. Actually had quite a few adventures this week. They can be, but sometimes they're worth it. Heard some very interesting news that I'm sitting on that I wish I could unveil tonight, but I think you're gonna have to just tune into the microdose this Friday with Jameel Hemphill, and that was an unintentional plug, but there it is nonetheless. Otherwise, no review for it tonight, but I got to see the Rocky IV Ultimate Director's Cut, Rocky vs. Drago. That's the whole title, FYI, and God damn it, dude, it's pretty amazing.
Very nice, very nice.
So and bumped into Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer and all around real life superhero Chicano Flame. He was hanging out with his sister. We had a couple drinks right before the movie. It was a blessing to watch the movie with that man. He's a real life firefighter. He's a real life luchador. He's a real life superhero. Chicano Flame. Goddamn it, I wish there were more people like Chicano Flame in this world.
Shout out, Chicano Flame. Speaking of superheroes, so obviously today's Wednesday, obviously.
Yes.
So last night, they dropped the most anticipated trailer, I think, in several years. Spiderman No Way Home dropped last night. A trailer, obviously. Did you get a chance to see it?
I did watch it, and unlike most of the time when we get a second, a third, and a final trailer, this one was like 75% new footage. So that was exciting. Disappointing for the rest of the fanboys out there. No Toby and no Andrew, and I go on you fans because you're only setting yourself up for disappointment. Let's come a little closer, Mike. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, they're probably going to be in the new Spider-Man, but they want it to be a surprise. They want it to be a special, and you guys just don't appreciate that anymore. So, having said that, it was an interesting trailer. It looks like Spider-Man actually has to save villains here, and I find that super fascinating.
Yeah, I must admit, I was one of those that was expecting at least a little glance or at least a little hint of Garfield and the other fella.
They definitely weren't in that trailer, but it's still not impossible. I'm not holding my breath, but it's not impossible.
But I was definitely watching the trailer. I probably have to rewatch the trailer to be fair, because I was like, the most of the time I was kind of like, is this the part they come in? Is this the part they come in? And then it ended. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, this is definitely weighs into the argument that trailers are showing too much when people are just like, no, they're gonna be in the trailer. You know they're gonna be in the trailer. Why wouldn't they be in the trailer? Like, I mean, I already got my ticket and I already got it on my calendar, but why wouldn't they show us that?
I mean, it's pretty much a given, considering the villains from the other versions are in it. I did like that line where he was like, "Hello, Peter Parker," and then he sees him. He's like, "You're not Peter Parker."
Yeah. See, I totally dug that little scene. Totally dug that little grain of salt there. That was good. And then, I got a feeling our other two Spider-Mans are literally just coming in at the end of the movie. Literally just coming in, just a cameo. You know, just the briefest save the day, the hot tag, if you will.
It'll be exciting. I mean, talking about myself, including in this, but all the people that I'm sure are going to be disappointed in the trailer are going to be first in line for when the movie comes out. So no harm, no foul. It'll be fine.
Well, someone has to be the first to say something bad about
it. Yeah. Oh, going off topic here a little bit. So you're familiar with Seth Rogen, right?
Seth Rogen, yes.
Now, obviously, he loves to dabble in the marijuana. He's a big fan of it. So, so the only point I'm going to make is this: where you're talking about like people like to complain, or people always have to have their say or put their voice out there. So he put on a short video on Twitter where he like designed a special tray for his weed intake. So it's got like a little rolling area and a little compartment where his grinder sits. He's got an ashtray. He's like
the efficient stoner, I guess.
Rolling papers. Yeah, he's got all that stuff. And then I was looking at the comments, and one of them was like, "I've never smoked weed in my life."
Okay.
So nice. But why did you feel the need to put that in the world? Like on this, because I've never played golf. I'm not going to search on Twitter for someone tweeting about golf just to tell him that I haven't played golf. It's weird. Like people have feel that they need everything they see. I have to comment on. I have to give my point. Like it's just very strange days we're living in. I'm getting old.
You are getting old, but I'm also getting old. So, but I probably would have read that a different way. I probably wouldn't have read that as like a superior comment thing to say.
I don't think it was a superior comment. It's just the feel to need of like, I've read this, so now I must comment. I have to say something. So you don't. If it's not of interest to you, you can scroll past and live your life.
It might be of interest. He might want to start smoking weed, though.
Maybe he was asking for advice. I've never smoked weed in my life. How do I do it?
How many times have you been like sending a text message or a thing on Messenger or whatever, and you didn't mean to hit the send button? Like you're literally in the middle of the sentence, but somehow that your thumb is just too big and stupid and just hit the send button anyways. Like it could have been that, man. You know,
maybe
it's fine. It's not like he got pissed on or anything.
I was working on one segue and you can't chime in with another. Let's go with yours then. Talking about being pissed on. Everyone's new favorite band that no one ever heard of until now.
Yeah. I still don't know their name. I mean, and I've seen it in print. I've literally looked at it, and it's not on my brain yet.
Okay, so let's get this story out of the way. So for those who may be watching on YouTube or listening to this in podcast form, if you are maybe at work, maybe, and have us on a loudspeaker, or if you're at home and there's some kiddies around, just for this next segment, maybe I'm being overcautious here, but I would say this may be NSFW. I don't know, but I'm just going to give you a couple of seconds just to either maybe just turn it down a little bit or skip forward.
It's definitely gross.
So I'm going to just give you a moment, okay? Right. Okay. You good? You good? Okay. Here's the headline. Brass Against apologizes after lead singer pees on fans' face mid-show. What a way to kick off tonight's episode.
I mean, that could happen to anybody.
So,
I can't tell you how many times I've peed on somebody's face on a public platform. It's just you're just there 1 minute, and the next minute, just peeing on your face.
This story is fantastic for several reasons.
Break it down, Mike Fish.
So, Brass Against, a band that,
Brass
again,
Against.
most people who are probably Googling that right now to find out what they are. So they're a band known for performing brass versions of rock songs. They have issued apology after its lead singer peed in a fan's face at a festival in Daytona Beach, which, if I'm correct in my geography, isn't that in Florida? Daytona Beach, Florida?
Daytona Beach, yes.
Florida? Of course it's Florida. Of course
yes.
It is. So basically, what had happened is the lead singer, whose name is Sophia Eurista, just basically
European.
mid-show announced to the crowd that she was dying for a piss. And then she asked anyone if they wanted her to pee on her. And this guy puts his hands up, super excited. Yes. Now, I am not, if you're into this kind of thing, maybe you can do this, but one, you can look up the video. There are many, as you can imagine.
I've seen photos. I've seen the photos.
I have watched the video, and boy, let me tell you something, Mr. Hayes. When she said she was dying for a piss, boy, howdy was she dying for a piss, because that guy it was like Niagara Falls on that stage. On this poor guy's face. Oh, not poor guys. He knew what he was getting.
I mean, he volunteered for it, yeah.
But no, okay. So what's hilarious about this story is, so after that happened, what he did, he got up and he kind of like, I guess, scooped up some of the liquid, shall we say?
The urine.
And like,
he scooped it up.
Yeah, and kind of like threw it towards the crowd, right?
Gross.
And
this is a whole different form of gross now.
And then so Sophia turns to security. She's like, "Security, get him the fuck out of here! Get him the fuck out of here!" So what I love about that story is that the woman who just moments earlier peed on a man's face in public was suddenly like, what you're doing is gross. Get off my stage. It's hilarious. Like, isn't that almost poetic? It's beautiful.
It's definitely a unique situation. But
I hope the fact that backstage after the show, she was like, "Oh, could you believe that guy? What that guy did?" And one of the band members is like, "You peed on a guy's face on stage."
I'd be willing to bet this isn't the first time she's peed on somebody's face on stage. Well, I'm just gonna throw that out there. I could be wrong, but that's my knee-jerk reaction. However, I bet no one ever started like splashing the puddles around, and that's. If it's just one person who volunteers, okay, but then that dude is like contaminating the rest of the crowd, and that's 1,000,000% gross.
Yeah,
I honestly thought this was going to be a G.G. Allen situation. Are you familiar with that dude, Mike?
Nope, but I feel like I'm about to be.
I only know a little bit about him. He's a punk rocker. I want to say he was around in the 70s, maybe the earliest of the 80s. But his whole thing was just rocking out on stage, sometimes in clothes, sometimes naked. Sometimes he would squat down, sometimes he would pee in the audience, sometimes he'd squat down, shit in his hand, and throw it at the audience. Always booze and drugs were involved in all of these situations. And then one night he's like, "We're gonna do a show, Halloween, in whatever town, and I'm gonna kill myself on stage." He would fail this by actually killing himself on the freeway, just blazed out of his mind on whatever substances, plural, he was on, and got hit by a car on the freeway.
Premature ejaculation or ejaculation.
Blew his wad for sure.
Yeah. But the band officially tweeted after this incident. We had a great time last night. Sophia got carried away. That's not something the rest of us expected, and it's not something you'll see again at our shows. Thanks for bringing it last night, Daytona.
I don't know how I feel about that statement. I definitely feel like this is not the first time she's done this.
It was definitely a cover our ass as much as we can statement. But as of recording this, I'm sure this is a moving story. Not moving as in emotionally moving, but it's continually progressing. Local police are now investigating this incident because obviously it's down as well. The investigation is for Florida statute 800.03, which is unlawful for someone to expose his or her sexual organs in public or on a private premises of another, or so near thereto, Jesus, as to be seen from such private premises in a vulgar or indecent manner. If found guilty, Eurista could face a fine of $1,000 or up to a year in jail. I doubt she's going to jail for a year.
I don't think she's going to jail either. But yeah, $1,000, that's cheaper than I thought it would be. So good for her.
But I did want to make clear that the band made it clear, that several comments were made about peeing prior to it actually happening. Invites to the stage. So basically, they're saying the guy knew what was going to happen, and he clearly did.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But
so yeah, it was a setup.
He was definitely on something or into something.
Definitely into something.
Because I'm sure you know this about me, boys and girls who listen to this or watch the show. I like to have a drink every now and again. I've been drunk several times. I've been blackout drunk several times. But at no point have I been so drunk where I'm like, oh, let this woman pee on me. So I'm pretty sure I've lost my slipper. No point. So I'm pretty sure he was kinkified up. He was loving this.
It's definitely a thing he's into. He wouldn't have volunteered for it.
But here's my next segue.
Oh,
but I just don't understand these kids because I'm too old for this shit. Oh, boom, 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 boom. Speaking of Mel Gibson, everyone, is back in the news. No, don't worry, Jewish community. He's leaving you alone this time. He's bringing back Lethal Weapon because how do you celebrate a franchise that was built on the catchphrase, I'm too old for this shit, by bringing it back 23 years later?
Has it been 23 years since the last one? Jeez.
1998 was when Lethal Weapon 4 came out. 1998.
That's right.
And fun fact about that, because I was looking it up, obviously. This is how long ago Lethal Weapon 4 came out. Was that Lethal Weapon 4 was the first international movie appearance by one Jet Li.
Yes.
Who has been around the block, shall we say. So
not only was it his first American appearance, but it was the first time they put the villain on the poster of a Lethal Weapon series. It made me think like, oh, well, Jet Li's clearly going to be an undercover cop, and him and Chris Rock, they're going to team up, and then they're going to take on the Lethal Weapon franchise from here. They're going to pass the torch, Riggs and Murtaugh, to Lee and Rock, and I am ready for this. And it wasn't anything like that at all. And it was still I enjoyed Lethal Weapon 4. It's not a very popular one. I think it's the least enjoyed of the entire series, but yeah.
I mean, the banter between fuck, what's his
Danny Glover and Mel Gibson.
Danny Glover and no, Chris Rock. I quite like
Chris
their
Rock.
interactions in that movie because obviously he plays his future son-in-law
Mm-hmm.
in that movie. But so the article that I read about this, I'm going to read some quotes from this story and tell me if you agree with me or not. But some of this just sounds a little made up.
I think I know what you're talking about, but yeah, break it down anyways.
So, well, if you know what I'm talking about, so that's almost clarifying that I'm right in this. So
it's go ahead.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to it. So this is going to be the first Lethal Weapon movie without original director Richard Donner, who unfortunately passed away recently, I believe, earlier this year, I think.
If not this year, in 2020.
Yeah. So Mel Gibson himself is stepping behind the camera. He's going to direct the movie. Again, hopefully he's not going to write it because that'd be a wild movie. So, yeah, long story short, he's going to bring it back for Lethal Weapon 5, a movie that I loved Lethal Weapon 1 to 4, but is this a movie that people were really clamoring for? I don't know. But so according to the Sun newspaper, which, so again, grain of salt.
I'm familiar with the Sun.
Yeah. Mel Gibson said that Richard Donner turned to him, was delivering a screenplay and got pretty far along with it. And he said to me one day, out the blue apparently, "Listen, kid, if I kick the bucket, you will do it." And I said, "Shut up." I don't believe that ever happened. I do not believe that he turned to him just randomly one day and said, "Oh, FYI, if I die, can you finish this movie for me?" No.
I believe it happened, but Mel, being an actor and a writer and a director, is definitely embellishing it and building it up a little bit. But this was something they were working on prior to COVID in 2019. So it's not the first time we've heard about Lethal Weapon 5 happening. We don't need it. I would say just reboot the whole thing. But there are people who do want this. They want this so much, Mike, that there was a Lethal Weapon TV series that should have been canceled after the 3rd episode, but went not only 3 seasons, but had a significant cast change because of a controversy on set where they just recast. They just took out the Gibson character entirely and just put in Sean Scott, Aston William Stifler from American Pie. Excuse me. And then it would end a season later. But people love Lethal Weapon. People definitely want a Lethal Weapon 5. I don't think everyone, including Mel, understands that y'all are now literally the entire joke since Lethal Weapon 1 was Danny Glover's character was 50 and then he got older, but he was always too old for this shit. So this has to be a passing of the torch, but I can't imagine this being good if Murtaugh and Riggs are the main plot point going through it.
Danny Glover is 75 years old.
Yeah, man. And he's doing like the minorest of roles now. He does roles that are like exclusively out of Oakland. And he's like, I like the kid. I want to see him succeed. I was happy to lend my name to his project. And that's it. Like he's made enough off of his career, including the Lethal Weapon franchise. Like he doesn't need to work again. He doesn't need Lethal Weapon 5. Mel Gibson's a great director. That's although it's true it's controversial to compliment Mel Gibson, but he's a fantastic director. He's a great writer, but I don't know what he would do that would quantify needing Lethal Weapon 5. Just reboot the series, guys. That would be my take on it. Have Mel Gibson direct it.
What would be really good just for funsies because it sounds cool, is if they rebooted Lethal Weapon and
Okay.
have Donald Glover replace Danny Glover.
Okay.
Not only because it's fun because their names are similar, but I think he'd be pretty good in that role.
I mean, just follow through with the theme. Who's the other Gibson? Gibson's not an uncommon name. Like I'm not pulling it. Debbie Gibson. Let's bring Debbie Gibson out of retirement.
Debbie Gibson and Donald
Glover. The soundtrack's going to be fire, Mike Fish.
Let's go straight to the moon, that one. Make it happen. Hollywood.
Asylum. The Asylum should make that happen. So.
What before we move on, I do have to read the rest of this Mel Gibson quote because it is
break it down.
Fantastic. So obviously, he did say that Donna was developing a screenplay and got pretty far into it, and he said to me one day, "Listen, kid, if I kick the bucket, you will do it." And I said, "Shut up." And then the next words in the quote, and they're in quotation, so Mel Gibson apparently said this. He did indeed pass away. Thanks for that clarification, Mel.
I like how you said that. Yeah.
But he did ask me to do it. Like he's trying to convince. No, he did. He did ask me. Honest.
I believe they had a conversation about. I believe Richard Donner knew his health was at risk in 2019. I believe he just ended up dying of old age, despite COVID being the biggest killer out there that year.
91.
I mean, he was an old man. 91. There you go. 91. I believe he was a former smoker, so always take that into consideration. And then, God damn it, I was going somewhere with this, but that's okay. Whatever, man.
Whatever. Lethal Weapon 5. Another one of those movies where I'm not, unless some crazy hype comes out about this, I'm not spending money on this. But once it comes out on Netflix or something like that, I'll definitely check it out.
Oh. Despite you claiming that this came out of the Sun, the True Hollywood Reporter and Variety are also both running with it. So that means something big is happening with it. And also, I believe it's going to be an HBO Max production. Like it might go to theaters, but it's definitely going to be intended for the app.
Oh, happy days. I'll watch it on HBO Max. Anything else on that one? It's pretty self-explanatory, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. I want a new Lethal Weapon. I don't want Mel Gibson and Danny Glover as the main characters. It's not because of any controversies or biases. It's just no. You guys realistically cannot do anything that you've done in those previous 4 movies.
There's not going to be any intense action scenes like chase scenes or like running from a 65 and a 75-year-old.
We literally cannot do it. We can't do it.
But it'd be interesting to see, unless they go rogue and, like I was saying to you earlier, if they do something wacky, it is a Lethal Weapon movie. If it's like, hey, there's some drug dealing in the retirement home. We need to get this. That'd be fun. I'd watch that.
Sure.
Submit your ideas. What do you think Lethal Weapon 5 should be? Hit us up.
Yeah, what's Lethal Weapon 5 going to be about, guys?
At Waffle Box Pod, or email us at enjoywafflebox@gmail.com. Next up on the docket is, in the wise words of Will.i.am, you are now rocking with Waffle Box and Britney, bitch. Britney Spears. He actually said Will.i.am, Britney, bitch, but never mind. Britney Spears, after 13 years of living under a conservatorship, is now officially free and can actually decide what she wants to do with her money and her life and her career and her medication. Good for her. Now,
little sister Hayes will be happy to hear that.
Now, this has been dragging on, obviously, for quite some time. Have you partaken in any of the mini documentaries and things like that concerning this whole shenanigans?
I think it's only just make me sad. So no,
it's a pretty sad thing.
yeah.
So the reason, we're all like, I mean, jokes aside, I am genuinely happy about it because I think the way this all went down over the past 13 years, because I watched a couple of the documentaries and things like that. Now, obviously, when it comes to things like this, and most documentaries, quote air quotes, documentaries, when it comes to like celebrities and things like that, generally they're all coming from one angle. They're like one-sided. If you know what I mean?
Yes.
So obviously, most of the
it's there to push a narrative.
Most of the documentaries about this were definitely all on, is it Britney Spears the victim and blah, 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 blah. However, just from watching it in that, knowing that and thinking that, there's also a kind of, what's the saying? There's no smoke without fire. Like, so I'm pretty sure what was going on. Like, at the end of the day, I mean, because this all came around from the 2007, I think, when she had the quote unquote breakdown and she shaved her head and yada 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 yada, which obviously she was going through some stuff, let's just say that, and wasn't in a healthy space. And I think, obviously she needed help. Maybe she still does, I don't know, but I just think when someone's in that kind of mindset, obviously everyone's different to the last. I just don't think necessarily going, if they're in such a bad state that they're doing wild shit and all that crap, maybe just saying, okay, from now on, you can't move unless I tell you. You can't spend any money unless I tell you. Or every decision is now at your control. I don't think that's necessarily going to help their mental state moving forward. I'm not a psychiatrist, obviously. Let's just break that down. Episode 25, I'm sure everyone's been listening to this thinking, wait, he's not? But, I think there's healthier ways to help someone who was maybe having a little bit of a nervous breakdown. So I think this, if anything, made things worse. So I think for her healing, and now she's happily engaged, I think this is for the best. What do you think?
I was surprised that she was under any kind of authority or jurisdiction. Like, why wouldn't she just be able to live her life? And then, someone helps her manage her money, but they don't control her money. So
someone had full control over her money. If she wanted to spend any money, they had to go to them to find out if they should do it. And even better, the people who did this, they took a salary. And they apparently went to court several times to request a pay rise and things like that. It was like, wow, shit.
Success seems to be its own curse. Just on topic, I went to LA a couple weeks ago, and on my drive down, I listened to a Joe Rogan podcast, which was like 3/4 of the drive down. So it was great.
Who is a doctor? If you don't believe he's a doctor, ask Aaron
Joe
Rodgers.
Rogan. He spoke, he was talking to Jewel, 90s pop star Jewel.
I remember
And
Jewel.
she was talking about she let her mom come in, take control of her bank accounts and all that stuff, and actually went broke 3 or 4 times before she actually discovered that mom had actually been siphoning everything, just paying random people, spending money willy-nilly. It wasn't even a conservatorship. It was just my mom's going to help me manage my life, and spiraled out of control. And then there's definitely a lot of mental instability on the mom's part in this story, but you can listen to that show itself. Anyways, so success seems like a curse also. I'd rather be rich than success, or rich than famous.
Oh, indeed. But with a face like this, I'm cursed to have both eventually.
Well, you got a good voice, buddy. There's always voiceover work.
So they always compliment my own looks, and you're like, yeah, you got a great radio voice. You got a voice. Maybe
I would love to be a voiceover artist.
Maybe keep that face away, people. Yeah, no, I mean, depends what you're doing. If you've Vin Diesel just going, I am Groot, that's a pretty good voiceover gig. That's
a great voiceover gig. But I could speak more than 3 letters or 3 words. That'd be good.
What kind of things would you want to do voiceover for? Like,
I mean, cartoons, radio ads. I would like to read an audible book to you. I want to help you fall asleep at night, Mike Fish, reading like
nice.
Tom Clancy or some other bullshit. The Da Vinci Code.
What about doing the voiceover for that really obnoxious cardboard box that follows people around, telling them about colon cancer? Have you seen that one?
I'm not familiar with that, but sure.
I can't. Is it Saint Clarigard or something like that? I don't know. Okay, it's hilarious. Totally now randomly off topic. So there's one of the commercials opens up. There's this guy chilling out on the beach with his wife, just chilling out, enjoying the beach. And then this cardboard box, just walks up, lays his towel down next to him, which is really obnoxious to do anyway, let alone the whole COVID-19 times. Just throw your towel down. And he's like, hey, have you been checked for colon cancer? And the guy's just like, oh, tell me more. What? No, that's not how you're going to react to that. You're like, fuck off, mate. I'm trying to enjoy myself. I don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
Madness.
That's definitely an uncomfortable subject, and it sounds like a dumb commercial. I think that might be more regional, or maybe. Your region just got the ads. No, the regional ads we have down here, I haven't even watched the entire commercial. I try and skip past it on YouTube as quickly as I can, but at least 100 times now, it's a tight close-up of a trash can. It's filled with trash. Someone tosses something into it, and it goes, and then someone else tosses something into another trash can, and it goes, and the woman laughs, and it's some kind of local propaganda about recycling, but this was spent with like city dollars, and I couldn't be more offended on multiple levels. So I try and skip out of it as quickly. But yeah, it's definitely a recycling ad because they got the URL right in the corner.
Do you want your trash bins farting at you? No, recycle.
See, man, that was a great voiceover, dude. Like, now, if you had told me that you had to do that for a commercial, I'd be like, dude, I hope they're paying you well on that. Like, I would rather be the voice of the colon cancer box than the actual guy in the box.
Yeah, no, that's or just the guy who's has to be like,
or the guy next to the guy in the box.
I'm interested in this. What? Well, what's them?
Like, think about it. You could be the next voice of Kit from Knight Rider. Like, okay, Michael. We're going 75 kilometers an hour now.
Do I have to do that noise, or is that?
I think they'll do that for you.
Worst acting gig, though. It's not a voiceover gig, but worst acting gig is because I'm sure they don't get paid much. You know, where the commercials where they're promoting like treatment for STIs and stuff like that, and you have to be that guy.
You definitely don't want that.
You have to be that guy. Hey, yeah, I got that. It's like,
you don't want that job.
I mean, people know it's a commercial.
Not only do I not want that job, I don't even want to make the impression of the guy who got that job because I don't want you to isolate the video for me. I'm like, I know you, Mike Fish.
But yeah, even though it's a commercial, when people see you around, you'll be like, is that guy with crabs on the TV? Oh, that's you don't want to be typecast as that. That's the worst thing to be.
Terrible. That's Charles Barkley would say.
Speaking of typecasting
and terrible,
Deadpool is back in Netflix's Red Notice, starring alongside Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and a name that I can't remember, but it's
Gal Gadot.
Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah, Deadpool, The Rock, and Wonder Woman. You might as well just
is he Black Adam in DC now?
He will be Black Adam, yes.
So there you go. Deadpool, Wonder Woman, and Black Adam star in Red Notice exclusively on Netflix.
I think if you're gonna go major DC characters, you're gonna say Green Lantern, Black Adam.
I mean,
Wonder Woman.
It has the DC connection.
You got to keep with the theme. You got to keep with the motif. It's a motif for a reason, Mike.
But someone said to me that they enjoyed Red Notice. We're not going to go too far into it just yet, but they enjoyed Red Notice. But the problem was when they watch Ryan Reynolds, now all they can hear is Deadpool, which I get that point. But we've been
talking about it multiple times on this show.
I made the joke, but Ryan Reynolds has been Ryan Reynolds for a long time. It's just, I think Deadpool was his biggest role, obviously. So now most people think of Deadpool, but Deadpool was Ryan. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Reynolds has been that character, for a long time.
Well, Ryan Reynolds has done some serious acting too, and unfortunately, he's only kind of mediocre at it. Like I have a movie he did called Buried, which I hear is phenomenal, and yet for whatever reason I can't bring myself to watch it. But
wasn't he in R.I.P.D.?
He was in R.I.P.D., which is where you would definitely say he was Ryan Reynolds in that.
That's a good movie, though.
But like since Van Wilder, Jeff Bridges was a country dude, or the guy he was a
cowboy,
the guy from
the sheriff.
Yeah, he was definitely the cowboy. He was playing the same character he played in the movie that he remade for John Wayne. God damn it. Oscar-nominated, Oscar-winning movie that I can't remember by the Coen brothers that I still can't remember. Anyway,
so Red Notice.
So
apparently it came out that this is the biggest movie
everybody
ever
watched
on
it.
Netflix.
And that stat keeps popping up, and I know it. Like, how high is this number? Keep going.
Let's get. I thought this was okay. It
was okay at best.
Yeah, it's
a half hour too long.
I don't even know.
For a unique twist, we got The Rock doing an adventure scene in the jungle. That's never happened before. Gal Gadot is only Gal Gadot, except for when she's Gal Gadot. And then Ryan Reynolds was again Ryan Reynolds. The locations weren't very fancy. They tried to be smart by giving you a twist within a twist, and it was like, oh, I don't care about that. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors and not so much substance for me. It wasn't even a really good looking movie.
No, I will say that, because some of the stuff that looked like maybe they used animation to help some of the action scenes, it kind of looks a little iffy.
It looked like a high budget TV show, and maybe that's just. I think I keep saying that with all the Netflix movies because we're watching it on the TV. And anytime I've ever done a review for a Netflix movie, it's usually directed by a TV director. So more times than not. The story was silly. If anything, I thought the twist. I thought they were going to go one way with the twist because I saw a press junket with them where they said like, "Oh yeah, we got a twist in this," and I went, "Oh no, you got." So for the entire time, I was like, "Oh, this is going to take a supernatural twist where Gal Gadot is actually Cleopatra because we're going after Cleopatra's Fabergé eggs." Thankfully, no, she was never.
Well, I think that twist might have been better than the twist that we
would
got,
that have been better? Okay,
I think so.
All right, make it happen, Dwayne Johnson. Redo the movie
because I hate. Okay, so from this point on, if you haven't seen Red Notice yet, pause this, watch it, and then
2 out of 5. 2 out of 5. A generous 2 out of 5.
I was about to say pause it and then come back, or don't bother because we could save you some time. So I hate it when. So the twist was, I guess now we're getting into spoilers. The twist was that the whole point of the movie was that Dwayne Johnson's character got framed by Gal Gadot, and so him and Ryan Reynolds teamed up to get back at Gal Gadot. They had to work together and become the odd couple. But then at the end of it, turns out Dwayne Johnson and Gal Gadot were teaming up the whole time against Ryan Reynolds, but it didn't make sense because then what?
It's a very high risk gamble when they could have just brought him in on it in the first place.
What pisses me off is that so when the old switcheroo is done like this in some movies, and they do it well, because what they do is quickly show you clips of the movie, and they make you go, "Oh my god! Of course, how did I not see that coming? That scene now makes so much sense." But in this one, when they travel back, they showed you technically clips from earlier in the movie, but they were different clips. Like, we didn't get that information. So they just basically made up.
Like when she handed The Rock the key when they were torturing him. And
yeah, they made up all these new scenes, but as if to say, duh, how did you miss that? And I was like, what the fuck? But
it's a very flat ending too.
Why were they working together? Like early on,
they leave Ryan Reynolds high and dry. Gal Gadot and The Rock are living the life up on a yacht, and then Ryan Reynolds, does he go to rob them? And then they're like, "No, fuck that. We're gonna triple team now, bitch, and we're gonna be in another movie, possibly." I would actually say definitely now, but.
Oh yeah, I mean, if it's been as successful as they say, I'm sure there'll be a red notice.
Now we're gonna rob the Louvre. It's like, go fuck yourself.
Well, that was kind of the cliffhanger.
I have to give you props. Like, I think that's maybe the second time I've seen you take a drink tonight. Meanwhile, I'm into like my third dozenth sip of one of three beverages in front of me.
What are you triple teaming this evening?
Water, rum, and coffee, as always.
Oh, you can't brag about having 3 drinks when 2 of them are non-alcoholic.
I'm still juggling more liquids than you are, is what I'm saying, and that's what I'm complimenting, Hobby.
What? Good for you.
No, good for you. It's good for you. I think this is a crutch I rely on too much.
What, alcohol?
I think if I didn't do this, I'd just be chain smoking the entire episode. Like if I was still smoking cigarettes, I think I'd just be lighting one up one after the other the entire hour.
Oh god, if I was allowed to smoke inside, I would definitely be smoking during this recording.
Oh, I'd be so jealous of you too.
That looks so cool. Because
anyway, Red Notice sucked diddly yucked.
I don't think it's
this is my third Ryan Reynolds movie of the year, and they're none of them are really any different, honestly. I guess Free Guy, but anyway, they're all starring Ryan Reynolds.
At least Free Guy it was adorable.
It was the Lego movie.
A cute movie.
It's a crowd pleaser for sure. Everyone seems to be loving the Free Guy. I think I'm the only curmudgeon on this one. Me and Madeline Costner.
But no, I think this one, I don't think it sucked, but I think it definitely had high expectations, and it definitely fell way, way short of them. And I think it tried to be too clever when it didn't need to be. I think the story could have been way less intense.
Netflix movies now. Very skeptical of Netflix movies now. I'll tell you what, a good Netflix movie that just came out not even a couple weeks ago, The Harder They Fall. That's Idris Elba, a bunch of other folks.
I saw it on the menu last night. I do mean to see it.
Check it out. I'm not a Western guy. Solid film. Lots of fun. Right amount of time. I think it's like an hour 45, hour 48. Like, it's not a long movie. It just moves around. Looks great. Got a good story. Great twist. So not much of a twist. Don't worry about that part. But
we're working together the whole time.
If you need a new movie, you need a good movie on Netflix, I would say watch The Harder They Fall.
I am definitely going to check it.
Not to be mistaken with Jimmy Cliff's The Harder They Come.
Oh.
Which is apparently a thing people were mistaking. And I was very embarrassed for you people who did that.
Now available on Pornhub. Pornhub Plus. Another movie I did see
that, right?
that for some reason I don't know why I'm not excited, but I'm interested in seeing the Army of Thieves.
Oh, how was that?
No, I watched the first 30 minutes of it, but then I was like, I want to watch football. So I was like, I'll come back to this. So don't get me wrong.
The Army of Thieves is
it didn't grip me.
Spiritual successor to Army of the Dead.
It's a prequel.
It's a prequel. Okay,
yes.
Spiritual
so
prequel to
it's
Army of the Dead.
I don't even think there's much spirituality in it. I think it's in the same universe. It stars one of the characters from his humble beginnings,
the bank vault guy.
Yeah.
The safecracker.
But this definitely, I'm definitely going to go back to it and finish it. It definitely had me. Whereas Army of the Dead or Army of Dead, whatever it was called, I turned that off before the end.
Oh, really?
And
you didn't even finish that?
No, and then I found out it was quite nice because this is how much that movie annoyed me. When I turned it off, and then someone just, I was like, just tell me how it ends. And they told me how it ended. I still got annoyed, even though I didn't watch it. I knew it was going to end like shit. I knew it was going to be a terrible ending. Terrible movie. What a waste of talent. What a waste of talent in that movie. But I'm hopeful that Army of Thieves is going to be better when I get around to finishing it. But it looks
I mean, the good news is you plan to go back to see it, so that first half hour has to be somewhat good. Like Netflix, I'll tap out in 5 minutes on a Netflix project. I started our Vault of the Army of the Vault, started the same fucking movie, and then I just went like, I didn't even get past the credits. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna sit this one out, and then I moved on to something else. I probably watched Ted Lasso again.
Problem was I tried to watch it on a Monday night, and if anyone who's semi into Monday Night Football, when I remembered it was Monday Night Football, I was like, oh shit, Monday Night Football, it's the Manning show tonight. Do you ever on ESPN2, have you ever watched the Manning cast? So it makes
I don't know what you're talking
Monday
about.
Night Football so much better. So on ESPN they have Monday Night Football with the regular feed and the regular announcers and all that bullshit. On ESPN2 they just have literally the feed of the game going on with no announcers, and then they have Peyton and Eli Manning just on two split screens,
just
at
breaking
the
it
end,
down,
just hanging out, chatting about the game. It's so much more fun just seeing these two brothers just hanging out, talking about football and blah blah blah, blah, like busting each other's balls whilst watching the game. It's so much more fun. So whenever that's on, I just watch it. And so, yes, that was way more better than Army of Thieves, but I'll definitely go back to it. So that's it. What have we covered? So we talked about Spider-Man.
It was a packed episode today, bud.
Spider-Man trailer, underwhelming. Red Notice, underwhelming.
Ooh, disappointing even.
Lethal Weapon 5, unnecessary.
Very unnecessary.
Brass Against, peas on people, but then the happy ending is Britney Spears is free. What a show! What a show! You're not going to get this kind of interestingness that I can't even use a word from any other podcast. But speaking of other podcasts, I mean, I know you alluded to earlier, you started doing a little bit of the hype earlier, but over the next several days, what have the good, fine people of the Syrup Squad got to look forward to on the Bosnia family?
I got an announcement this Friday on the Microdose with Jameel Hemphill, and it's actually near and dear to me. I honestly thought we were going to be able to do it tonight, but the way these things go, life gets in the way. So
he wanted to announce it tonight,
hopefully,
Jameel, so suck it.
Jameel had nothing to do with it, but hopefully the powers that be will announce it now. and when I announce it Friday, it'll make more sense. But anyways, check that out. Waffle Box, big announcement. Me and Jeanette Mill and Bill talking some Marvel Cinematic Universe as well, and then the season finale of Sweet Science Cinema number 6. That's the night before Thanksgiving, January 24th. We are talking the aforementioned Rocky IV Ultimate Director's Cut, Rocky vs. Drago, and that's going to be a very fun episode.
If he dies, he dies.
They thankfully left that line in.
Good.
They changed a lot in this movie, Mike Fish,
Oh.
and happy to talk about it.
Was Apollo Creed Asian or white?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
That was as big of a change as I could think of in that short notice.
No, they're still using all the original footage they shot, but they shot a lot of footage because it's a different movie.
But Kevin Hart is in it somehow because he's in everything.
they CGI'd in Kevin Hart and Jabba the Hutt.
when Apollo Creed goes down, it's just like, we're so sad. Oh, that'd be
That's Jar Jar Binks. That might as well be. He might as well be in it too.
Oh, now
Drago the Enforcer.
Jabba. Oh yeah. Him with his army.
He
of
dies.
foes.
He dies.
Now rub my nipples. Up his nipple. Jabba the Hutt. Kinky bastard. Okie all right, so yeah, that was tonight's show. Thank you all for watching us. If you are watching us on YouTube, if you do want alternatively to listen to us, obviously you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Good Pods, and all their good places. All the links go to enjoywafflebox.com. And if you do want to see our beautiful faces and you are listening on audio, remember you can always check us out on YouTube. Just go to enjoywafflebox.com. All the links there. Enjoy us. I am Mr. Mike Fish. He is Kush_Hayes. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Wafflebox Pod. Any final words of wisdom for the Syrup Squad? Any life advice?
No, not tonight. Just be good.
Yeah,
be good, kids.
Don't be a cunt.
Don't be a cunt. Well said.
There was a comedian who said that when they were talking about the 10 Commandments in the Bible, and he was like, there could have been just one. Just don't be a cunt.
I bet he was British.
Might have been Australian. Might have been
Australian even? Okay. Yeah.
Might have been Jim Jeffries.
Jim Jeffries is the
basically
Australian.
British. He's basically English. He's an honorary Brit.
All right. I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
He will. He should do. Anyway, until next time, all you sexy beasts, take care of yourselves and each other.